Hi, this is John Tague. I'm with Chris Gordon on Hellblazer Biz.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, viewers and listeners, wherever you are in the world right now. You are tuned into Hellblazer Biz with your one and only host, as always, me, Chris Gordon. Thank you all for tuning in. If you're joining me for the first time, then welcome. I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you just stay tuned for more episodes and go back to look at the back catalogue, which you can find on hellblazerbiz.com, iTunes, YouTube. Just go and search Hellblazer Biz, and you will find me. So today, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I have a fantastic guest for you. He's currently being seen in Lucifer, which has just been renewed for another season on Netflix. Amazing. He's also in Hulu's Light as a Feather. He's been seen in BlackList, which is another favourite show of mine. Also CSI Cyber, and he's currently the lead actor and creator of the multi-award winning web series The Rolling Soldier. So without further ado, I introduce to you the fantastic Mr. John Tague. Everyone, I have the pleasure and the honour of the company of John Tague today. I would say this evening.
Oh,
It is this evening for me, it's not for you. Uh,
it's still morning for me.
I know, that's terrible. It's nearly 8 p.m. for me.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on. I do, thank you. As I
My
say,
pleasure. Thank you.
it's good to finally chat to you and get you on. So this is, I'm sure you are aware already from our little chat we've had, this is quite a relaxed thing. I like to do nice conversations with people and actually converse rather than just like, straightforward question answer. Because
Good.
I find
Yeah,
that
let's do it.
dull. So I say one day I'll be in Hollywood. Corden and Gordon, James Corden, I'm coming for you.
Yeah, come on out. Yeah, come on out. The weather's good, and there's plenty of
Ooh.
people like me to interview.
Exactly.
Just throw a rock in the air, you'll hit one of us.
Exactly, yeah. Just get in there and go. Excellent. So as you know, I've had quite a good response for you actually, which is great. From
Oh, good.
people who send in stuff in to know more about you, and some good questions as well there. Some which I would have asked as well, which are in there from a few, and
Okay.
some which will try you. And I've actually got a signature question as well at the end. Sorry, I've just knocked my
Excellent.
headphone. That's probably why it's gone. Yeah, which is, if you've not heard it, it will surprise you, but I'm not going to tell you now. It won't surprise you that much. Don't worry.
Okay. Is it okay if I swear? I'm from New Jersey, so I tend to swear a lot. I hope that doesn't bother you.
It's fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
It's
All right. I mean,
yeah.
I don't intentionally try to, but
Yeah.
it does. It
It
does on
slips out.
occasion happen. Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
No, that's fine. Don't worry. It's I'll just put a little E for explicit if it comes out.
I'll try to monitor myself the best I can.
Oh, I've had it very bad before. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. So I'm in good company then.
Oh yeah. I think Emmett Scanlon, every other word was an F bomb. I was like, all right, let's just let that fly.
This is my dog Lila. She's always stealing the show. Sorry about that.
Oh hey,
She
why
wants
there?
my go play. Go play. Go play. Yeah.
Bless.
Yeah.
What breed is she?
She's a terrier. She's got a lot of, I think, Jack Russell in her because she's very hyper. So she's got a little bit of Jack Terrier. She's got really long legs, so she might have a little Greyhound in her too. I'm not sure. But she's an active girl. She likes to have fun. Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
And yeah, likes to be centre of attention as well. You
Well,
can
she
say.
knows now. Yeah, she's like, okay, now is the time where the focus is on me, so she has to come in and steal the show.
Oh, typical pet. I've got two. I say I've got two cats. We used to have a dog. I've got two cats at home and now two rats as well.
Two
And
rats.
yeah,
Oh, that's fun.
yeah, my son wanted two rats, so that was interesting. But the two cats are just the same. So if I'm doing one of these at home, then next thing you'll see is the cat wandering.
Oh, right. Yeah,
They
just
don't.
cats. Cats ever get into the rats or no?
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Well, you're good
Yeah.
at keeping them segregated.
We've only had the rats about 3 weeks, and I bought a cage because we didn't have the rats first. I bought this cage and then realised that the bars on the cage were too wide for the rats. So the first thing that happened, obviously, in the middle of the night, I got woken up to say the rats have escaped. And
Oh, Jesus. That's
all,
terrible.
all around the living room floor trying to chase these rats under the sofa.
I bet that was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But they always try and take your attention, these animals. But in the best
Yeah,
way.
they steal the shows.
Oh,
Never
yeah.
work with dogs or children.
Exactly. Family members, though, you can't get rid.
Right.
Cool. I'm just going to mention start this off. I know you've worked on two of my favourite shows. One of them is obviously one of the reason which drew you to my attention anyway was Lucifer. What was
Sure.
it? Yeah, what was it like working with them? Because that is one crazy ass bunch of people, as
Well,
in a good way.
it's funny. I've done a lot of stuff, and a lot of times they can be a lot, really stressful.
Hmm.
Um, Actors, it's always great when you book a job. Then when you get the job, and then you got to show up and deal with the crazy world that is happening surrounding a show. It can be really stressful. Um, that wasn't the case at all with Lucifer. When I walked into the table read, uh, I was treated so well right off the bat. Every cast member introduced themselves to me.
Hmm.
Every producer, every writer. They were just really, really welcoming and just a really fun group of people. And it's an odd that I don't want to say it's an odd thing to happen, but you don't really nobody really has the time to treat you like that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But they all did, and it felt like I was walking into a nice family environment where everybody was really enjoyed themselves and
Hmm.
enjoyed each other. So I mean, it was a very, very positive experience. When I went into the table read for the episode, and after the table read, I was on top of the world. I couldn't wait to get back and start shooting.
Hmm.
On the day of shooting, it was more of the same. Everybody was super cool. I'm in the episode Once Upon a Time,
Hmm.
and it was one of the standalone episodes of, I guess, season three.
Yeah.
And my scene was with Lauren German, who was really very, very sweet, super, super nice, and I mean, she was a total pro. And
Hmm.
we shot we shot that scene. It was the first, I think, one of the first things that they shot that day. So it was a morning shoot, and it was just a blast. Because there was some stunt work involved,
Hmm.
and it was a really kind of heavy scene. And then it opens up where it's kind of it's a setup for it being a movie within a movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that was a lot of fun, and so we had a really good time doing it, and I had a blast working with that crew and working with Lauren and Kevin Alejandro was the director of the episode, and he's probably the nicest director I've ever worked with as far as um, he's an actor's director, and because he's an actor himself, and,
Yeah.
and he's very enthusiastic, and
Hmm.
and I think this was the first episode that he directed for them. So I
Okay.
think he wanted it to really be something special, and
Yeah.
I think it was.
Hmm. Yeah.
Even though it was kind of out of context with the way things went as far as like the season finale of that show, and then the show getting canceled, and then Fox putting out the two
Yeah.
standalone
Standalones.
episodes, kind of was like a weird thing. Uh, but I think it was still fun to do, and I think the fans had a good time with it.
Oh yeah, it was a great episode as well. I mean, I love those kind of like that sort of like film in a film type. They're brilliant.
Right.
Uh,
It was the other thing that was fun about it was Neil Gaiman was the voice of God in that episode. So having being in a scene where he's narrating the scene,
hmm.
just made it extra special for me too. I mean, like I said, I mean, all around the whole experience working on that show was really pretty magical, and something I won't forget for a long time. It probably spoiled me a little bit because
Yeah, now you want
I wouldn't
everyone
be
to be like
expecting it.
that.
Well, I've done a bunch of things since then, and they've been pretty good too. And
Yeah,
and but that was a really special experience. Yeah.
yeah. They do seem to, as I say, I mean, I've had most of them on my show as well. I think
Oh, cool.
Lauren and Tom, I'm desperately trying to get. I nearly got Tom last time, but obviously with the cancellation, then all of a sudden their focus changed on how they were going to
Yeah,
publicize things. So I just
yeah,
missed out
yeah.
then. But
Well, he did a really great job getting out there and pushing the show, and I'm sure
mm,
that there was a lot of behind the scenes stuff that he did that we don't really know about. That he went out there and
yeah, oh, yeah, definitely he did.
put himself out there.
He was over here on the news and everything, pushing
Yeah.
it. So it was really, really good. So hopefully, when season 4 comes out, I'll get them.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. Maybe once things die down a little bit, they might be a little bit easier to get a hold
yeah.
of.
But as I say, speaking to the others, and I've got that sense, like you just explained. I think it's one of the things that fans get drawn to so much because you can just see that it is a family, it is a loving family that they just have so much fun together, offset as well as on.
Yeah, no, it was genuine. There was no pretense, and there wasn't any bullshit as far as I saw. I mean, everyone was super nice and really enjoyed working hard for each other. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's a nice thing when shows are like that, and that's why I think it was um, when the show got canceled. Me personally, I was like, God, you know, that sucks because it was such a great experience, and also because it shoots in Los Angeles, and we need shows.
yeah.
When a show gets canceled, a bunch of people are out of work, and
Mhm.
and I felt really bad for everyone that lost their jobs after it was canceled. But thankfully, Netflix came in and
Yeah, it
saved the
saved the
day.
day. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, we were. I mean, it was a few years ago. The reason my show exists was there was a show called Constantine as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, remember that
Yeah.
with Matt Ryan. He's
Sure.
a friend of my show. He's been on a few times as well, which is great. But that when that got cancelled, I remember seeing because he said obviously people lose their jobs and
Yeah.
sets get destroyed. And Dave Blass, the set designer, he said he remembers standing just crying because the sets he designed. The library, the book with the library, every single book was an individual book. It was a real book. So when they just destroyed it, it was just like you can just
Yeah. It's gone, and it's Los Angeles used to be where everybody shot their shows, and
hmm
then a couple of years back there was a bunch of strikes that happened,
yeah.
union strikes, and production scrambled, and a lot of it went up to Vancouver, and some of it went to Atlanta
hmm
and New Orleans, and now there's a bunch shooting in New York. So anytime a show leaves Los Angeles, I mean it's a kick in the groin
Yeah,
for the filmmaking and acting community out here.
I can
Uh,
imagine.
yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
and Lucifer's just come to it's only just come to LA as well because it was in
Right, because
Vancouver
they
originally.
were in Vancouver, right?
Yeah, they were in Vancouver
Yeah,
the first 2 seasons, and the third
yeah,
season was in LA with a
yeah,
sound studio. So it's a huge boost for them to have that too. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
thanks to
That's
Netflix. So I think that's a great thing as well about things stream Hulu, Netflix. Although there are plenty of them out there. I'm not just advertising
well,
too.
yeah,
And
and
I think that's
also,
such a great opportunity for filmmakers and TV show makers to get things aired and get things out there.
but it's such a good show on top of it, and the fan base is huge, and
Mm.
things like Nielsen ratings and the old ways of looking at a show's popularity don't really count anymore. I mean, if you look at the way the fan base reacted on Twitter and
Yeah.
on all social media platforms, and it's around the world. I mean, they've got fans everywhere, and everyone lost their minds over it, and rightfully so because it was a good show, and you can't end it on a cliffhanger like that.
No.
You need closure. I mean, even if they did like with Timeless, I think they're doing a 2-hour movie to
Yeah,
wrap
I
up
think
that
so.
show. It's just wrap up the show. Like give the fans
Yep.
give the fans what
Exactly.
closure on things.
Exactly, which I think was the thing which upset everyone about Constantine 3 years ago, is because it was, I think after episode 13 they just stopped, but it was still midway through the story, so you never got the closure
Right.
really there
But
either.
hasn't he been appearing in some of the DC shows?
Yeah,
Yeah, like
Matt got brought back to Legends of Tomorrow. He was in Arrow
okay.
as well, so that the characters.
Well, that's cool.
So I think they're resurging, and there's an animated show that he's got now. I think he's been doing an animation of Constantine.
Oh,
So they
that's
kind of
cool,
brought it back, which is great.
Yeah, yeah,
So we'll
that's
see.
cool.
That kind of moves on. There's a question further down, but I'll bring it in now because we're talking about
Sure.
it. Susanna Schlesinger. She sent me quite a few, which is great. First one is: you are very active on different social medias, and how important is this kind of self-marketing nowadays for an actor? Kind of follows on from where we just.
It's critical. I mean, I wish I could say I'm the kind of actor who could afford a publicist,
Mm,
but I'm not. I'm a working class actor. I go through long stretches of not getting any work,
yeah.
and right now I'm in between gigs. So social media is incredibly important. Um, and the funny thing is, I'm not very good at it, uh, or I wasn't very good at it
Hmm.
until I kind of saw what was happening with Lucifer,
Yeah.
and it was all kind of just by accident. I got basically what happened was when I found out the show was canceled, they hadn't aired my episode yet.
Hmm.
And basically, my episode was going to get shelved. I didn't know if it would ever see the light of day, if it would
Yeah.
maybe it would come out on a DVD,
Hmm.
package. But I didn't know, and it really pissed me off. So I went on Twitter, and I saw that there was a huge, the Save Lucifer campaign
Hmm.
going on, and I thought, well, yeah, I mean, I like the show. I've been watching the show too. So I have to watch the shows because I'm going into audition for them,
Yeah. You need to
so
know
I
what
have
they're
to be
about.
familiar
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
it. And some are not the best, and
Hmm.
some are crap, and some are fun. And Lucifer is one of those shows that I was just like, this is just a fun show. And I had some friends that had some good experiences on that show as well. So I kind of got into it, and I had auditioned previously for a different part for a different episode
Hmm.
a while back, and I was like, okay, now if I get called back in, I really want to nail it. So
Yeah.
I wanted to know as much about the show as I could, so I made sure I caught up on all the episodes. But then when it got canceled, I went on and I was like, hey, I'm John Tague. I'm in an episode that hasn't aired yet, and I'm super pissed off because as a working actor, I need this footage and I need this credit,
Yeah.
to stay legitimate in
Hmm.
this business. It's otherwise, it's just a wasted opportunity, and it'd be a
Yeah.
shame if he saw the episode. And the amount of response that I got back, from fans was
Hmm.
just huge. And then, I thought, well, I want to help. I want to help them get. I want to help get the word out about picking up the show. So
Hmm.
I was all for it, and I didn't know how to really use Twitter or hashtags or any of that. I didn't. In fact, I had pretty much given up on Twitter
Yeah.
because I thought this is just it's all political, and there's all these things, and every time I would try to tweet something, it would get lost in the wash, and so I never really had. But then once you kind of get a little bit of a following and get involved in the conversations, then it's a lot of fun.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, Twitter and all social media is very, very important to an actor's livelihood. I'm just now really starting to realize that. Yeah,
All right. Cool. Yeah. I've had a few people. JD Evermore is another one who's told me that, and he says, and I think in some ways, especially, and I've seen it happen where I think some people have had loads of Twitter, get millions of Twitter followers, and in my eye, and I'm saying this in my eyes, and so there's no legal ramifications. I'm not going to name names, but in my eyes,
sure,
they've got no talent. They've just come up. They're like reality TV stars or
sure.
something. They get millions, and then all of a sudden, whoomph, they're headline in a film or they're headline in a series,
Well,
and
that's the
they've
thing.
just been on what Big Brother or something. And it's like,
Yeah.
seriously, why? You've got
Well,
so many talented people out there, and that's what I think JD Evermore said. That's why he's trying to boost his social media, and like yourself, because
yeah,
unfortunately, studios look at that now as well.
they do. I mean, and look, here's the. I'm 48 years old. I'm kind of, I'm a middle-aged guy on Twitter, but I'm an actor, and I do some fun things. So for me, it's kind of like, oh God, this is this thing I got to do. But
Hmm.
but I actually have a lot of fun doing it and communicating with everybody. But yeah, like you were saying, there's tons of people that are, Instagram stars
Yeah.
or YouTube
Hmm.
stars or, people with big Twitter followers that are booking these acting jobs
Yeah.
solely on the fact that they have millions of followers. And if you look at it from a business point of view, it only makes sense. If I'm a producer of a film and I see that this guy has how many, like 12 million followers.
Exactly. Yeah, that's 12 million people who
That's
are going to go
12
and watch
million
it. Yeah.
eyeballs that are going to be on my product.
Hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I get it. It makes sense, and unfortunately, it's just another thing that the performers like me have to kind of put up with. But it's part of the game. I can't complain about it really. You know, it's just part of the game now.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, I'm saying it from my perspective because I say the amount of times I speak to actors and writers, and I just sit there and think, and then I'll turn the TV on. I'll turn it on after this, and I'll just sit there and I'll flick through. It's like reality, reality. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
it's just
Well, there was just a big boxing match between
two
two.
YouTube stars who I've
Yeah,
never
and
even
it's like
heard of before. Oh,
yeah, and they made $1 billion on it.
yeah,
It's like, well, there you go. That's where it's going.
exactly.
So what are you gonna do?
Crazy, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Simon Barre Brisbois, he is a French Canadian who listens, very active with my show. He would like to know which film directors would you want to work with, and which of their movies you love to watch.
Wow, that's a loaded question. I'm a big David Lynch fan,
Hmm.
so I would work with him on anything if I ever got the opportunity. Yeah, so David Lynch is a director that I love. And the reason why I love him so much is that when I watch his films, it's like all of a sudden I kind of go into a dream state a little bit when I watch his films.
Hmm.
His That's the kind of thing that I get out of his movies. Other directors I like Danny Boyle a lot. I'm thinking of like contemporary
Yeah.
directors. Let's see who else. Um, of course, if I would love to work with somebody if he ever decided to make films again, like somebody like Francis Ford Coppola. Um, who else? I mean, right now, you see, it's funny. Movies are kind of, unless you can fit into a spandex superhero suit, movies really are kind of like this thing now where it's kind of hard to break into. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of really good independent filmmakers out
Hmm.
there too.
Oh yeah.
But their films just aren't really making it into the movie plexes and cineplexes. Where I think all the really interesting work is being done now is on television.
Hmm.
Although there are tons of good independent films, but you don't really see them until they get to Netflix or to Hulu now because the movie theaters just aren't showing them.
Yeah.
I went with my daughter recently. We went and saw 2001: A Space Odyssey in
Oh, okay.
IMAX
Yeah. Wow.
last week, and it was mind blowing and just
Hmm.
amazing. And it's a genre film.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's just like God. There isn't a whole lot of action in that movie,
No.
but it's incredibly engaging. You can't stop watching it.
Hmm.
And my daughter, who's 11, wasn't bored at all with it. And I thought, that's cool. Like you don't have to have an explosion or a car chase or people flying around
Hmm.
every 5 minutes in a film to have somebody be interested in, especially a younger audience.
Yeah.
I mean, what I think would be what I would like to see someday is, and I don't know if it happens or not, but I wish it would. I wish they would put things like Game of Thrones in the movie theater. I would go to the movies once a week to watch a Game of Thrones episode.
That'd be pretty cool on IMAX
It'd
as
be
well. Just
great. Yeah, it'd
imagine.
be fantastic. It would be amazing. Because I mean, the amount of work that these crews and these people put
Hmm.
into making it look amazing, and then having the mass majority of people that watch it only get to experience it on a small screen or on their phone
Yeah.
is ludicrous.
Uh huh.
Those things are so visually gorgeous. They should be on a big screen. So hopefully someday one of these companies like HBO or Netflix or somebody will make a deal with these movie houses and stream them once a week. I think that would be awesome. And I think it would, like fan bases would go bananas. I mean, I guarantee like, on like a slow night, people would go see Lucifer in a
Oh yeah,
movie.
too right.
I mean, why not? And plus, the movie theaters, they need the revenue. So I think it's only a
Yeah, it's charged, maybe a half price of a film or whatever, or
right.
just,
If they want to do it, they can call me and I will tell them how it should be done.
yep. We'll put that out there. I'll tweet that out as
Yeah,
well. By
yeah.
the way, all the producers. No, that'd be pretty cool. I mean, I know you mentioned indie film,
You
and
heard it here first.
yeah,
You heard it
exactly.
here
Yeah,
first.
yep.
We've got it all sorted.
Copyrighted to John Tague.
But as far as other directors go, ah, James Cameron would be fun to work with. Um, who else? I don't know. I'd have to think about it some more, to be honest. Yeah, but there's a lot of directors that I would like to work with.
Excellent, excellent. I mean, you mentioned indie film there as well, and that's something I get involved with a lot in the UK.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, for me, it's helping me because I've got a distributor who does a lot of distributing of independent films, and a lot of friends now who I've made, and these actors, filmmakers in that. I'm actually going on Saturday. There's an independent film makes film shorts,
Hmm.
and he's doing a screening of 3 of his film shorts with us. And he's just asked me last week if I want to present and host the whole thing.
No, yeah, that's a
So
great
so
opportunity.
it's great. So it's and it's such a family because this will be my 3rd time now, and it's all because
Yeah,
they've it's like you get involved in a family, and then you sort of known within the family, you're respected,
yeah,
and it's nice to have that sort of feeling. I think it's such an indie film. I think there's some amazing films out there, which are independent
absolutely.
films, but like you say, they just don't get that chance in a cinema.
Yeah.
And until
But
they
that's
get,
what's great about film festivals, that's what's cool because then a lot of these independent filmmakers get their work seen and hopefully they can get some kind of a distribution deal out of it. I've had some luck, I created a web series and it went to a lot of web series festivals around the world, and
yeah.
that really helped me out in a lot of ways. So yeah, I mean, those are cool. I'm a big fan of those things.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. And I mean, I've saying I've blown my own trumpet. I've this I was presented an award at a film festival 2 weeks ago. An award with my show's name. It was named after my show.
That's great. That's super cool.
Yep, I'm
You're
proud of that.
yeah, and now you're plugged into the independent film world. So, and that's great. I mean, you have all these different little worlds of filmmakers and fandoms and things, and it's just a great way to get involved.
It is.
And feel like you're part of it because now you're part of it. And that's cool.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's one of those things where it's something I want to. As we've said before, this is something I want to try and get into anyway, and it's just a hard thing. But to be involved, even just doing what I do, and there's a few little events now and then. Like Saturday, I've been preparing because I know for me, the experience is just going to be amazing because I'll probably bottle it like I did the last two, standing in front of all these people. I can talk for hours on a mic when I'm face to face, but
Sure.
the joke I've got the first time I did it, sorry, is it was a film about depression, so it was a very serious topic, but the mic didn't work, and I've got a very dry and a very dirty sense of humour sometimes, but I had people in the audience, and there were some very good-looking girls, but they were trying to obviously let me know the mic wasn't working. So when you're trying to talk to people, and you've got the director, you've got the lead actor of the film talking about depression and suicide, because that was what the film was about. So you're trying to be, and then you've got these really pretty girls in the audience go,
Yeah.
telling you to move the mic closer. How I kept a straight face is beyond me.
Yeah, that's the international symbol for the microphone isn't working.
Exactly, yeah. But oh crap! It was yeah. I kept it all the way through, and then afterwards, I just had to go out and cry laughing because I just couldn't hold it any longer.
What can you do? I mean, those things happen.
Oh yeah. I would say it was just unfortunate it happened to be the topic it was, because otherwise I just would have let it out anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. So moving on to another question from Nizineko in Twitter. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing these names wrong. To who people Nizineko. What's the greatest pleasure you take from acting? That's a tough one as well because quite.
Yeah, because it's kind of multi-tiered. The greatest pleasure that I take from it is if I if I entertain someone in something that I've done
Mhm.
and I get a response from it, that's the best you can, ask for is,
Yeah.
was it entertaining? And did I do a good job? And will can it be remembered later
Mhm.
on? That to me is some of the, also acting sometimes for me can be a very cathartic thing. It's my opportunity to express myself in ways that you don't normally get to do, day to day.
Mhm.
So that's probably what I enjoy the most out of it, is being able to express myself and help move the story along. If I'm not the lead actor in a film, if I'm a
Yeah.
supporting player, my job is did I did I help move the story forward in a way that was entertaining? And if people, were entertained by it, then that's the best reward I could possibly ask for.
Nice answer.
Yeah.
And she kind of also asks, "What are your in acting? What are your priorities?"
What are my priorities?
Mhm.
Honoring the story, um, putting forward a character that, regardless of what type of character is,
Yeah.
putting forward somebody that is relatable.
Mhm.
And when I say that, it's like, how if you take a look at some like a character like Hannibal Lecter, right?
Yeah.
Well, how could I relate to that? Well, obviously Anthony Hopkins did something in that character that touched a nerve with everyone.
Mhm.
So somehow, some way, everybody relates to that character somehow.
Yeah,
Uh,
which is quite disturbing, but
it is, but I mean, it's like the reason why you like a character like that is because you see something about yourself in that character.
yeah.
I mean, so I guess honoring the text of the story and uh, being 100% prepared, is super important when you're making a film or a TV show or a play, and leaving it all out there, taking risks and making sure that you don't walk away from it going, God, I wish I had done it like this, or
Mhm.
I could have done this. That's the worst feeling ever when you walk away from it and you didn't feel like you gave it what you thought you could have, and
Yeah.
you didn't deliver. So yeah, I mean that to me is really important.
Okay.
Um, just going in there and giving it everything you got and leaving it on the soundstage or leaving it uh, on the location.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
See, when you mentioned Hannibal Lecter, and we've all got asking me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, my bad
Yeah.
Hannibal Lecter. I was going to say, yeah, I actually did. With what he said there is relating to it. I did an acting role in an indie film last year, and I had some lines, but it was one for me that was my next role because there will be a next role. I determined there will be, but like it was difficult because I couldn't. They only gave me three or four pages of the script that I was actually in doing the scenes,
Hmm.
and it wasn't until I got there that they told me what the rest of the script, because they're all saying you really know what your character is, don't you? And I was like, well, no, I've got the script. They go, haven't you read the script? And I said, I was given 4 pages of the script. That's it.
Yeah. Well,
And
that happens a lot.
yeah, yeah, and
A lot of times you're lucky if you get anything. And sometimes, the thing that you do get when you show up on set and you're ready to shoot, they've rewritten it. So
yeah.
sometimes it's like, what is this? But yeah, so, I'm sorry, go on.
No, no, it's fine. I was going to say it's true, but yeah, my character was actually a pedophile, a part of a pedophile ring. I didn't have to do anything, thankfully. It was just
Uh-huh.
office scenes. But yeah, I found that out, and I was there, like you say, you've got to relate, because a lot of actors who I've told have said that's probably a fantastic first role and a fantastic role because it's a totally out of the comfort zone,
Yeah.
and to suddenly do now. When I was doing it because I was just doing an office manager, and for me, I've been in that environment for 15, 16 years, so it kind of that
Right.
part of it came natural. But there was always that. I was thinking all that. I had to do stuff under the cloak to do some throwback lines, which was nasty. Um,
Right. Yeah,
but
sure.
again, I just came out of it. People said a lot of people wouldn't do that, and I was like, well, it's not me. You just
Yeah,
put a cloak over my head, and I'll just say these lines under the cloak. It's not
yeah,
who I
yeah,
am. It's like,
yeah.
And they said, no, they're all like really well done. A lot of people wouldn't have done that, and I was like, well, if that's the case, they can't be passionate about what they're doing if they can't throw themselves into that. But I mean,
Right.
yeah. So
But, I mean, those are horrible people. You know
yeah, they're
that
very
that
hot.
pedophiles are horrible people.
Yeah, there's no getting
But
around that. Disgusting.
horrible people are, can be a lot of fun to play on screen.
Mm.
You know, you can't. Somebody, I can't remember who told me, but I really believe this. Maybe I read it somewhere. I'm not sure, but every character is the hero of its own story.
Mm-hmm.
And I always kind of try to keep that in the back of my mind when I'm working on something, even if it's
Yeah.
small. It's like I'm still the hero. I might be, the like the cop in
Yeah.
Lucifer. I mean, I'm the hero.
Yeah.
My friend just died. Oh my God! It's like, So, but then it's you got to create that backstory for yourself and put yourself into this mode of this is who this guy is, and if the character is somebody like a pedophile, it's repulsive, but at the same time, he's got a story to tell.
Yeah, very, very true. And I mean, the last scene, I think it's last people won loads of awards, and people have said the final scene's a good one. And I know that was a scene where you get, and people aren't going to watch it, I don't think anyway. So it's basically the girl comes back and she gets her comeuppance, and there's acid poured in certain areas of the body. And I'm lying on the floor already handcuffed, and it all comes up. And apparently people have said that final scene is so dramatic and so really good. And I was like, that was one of my scenes. I was like, yes, that's one of the things.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, all I did was lie there and scream and whack my head on the concrete
Sure.
floor and get told that I was really method acting when actually I did it by mistake.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Those are experiences that most people would most actors would kill to have a scene like that in a film.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I can't wait to see it, actually. I want to see all the special effects of the acid coming up because it's probably going to be quite
No,
creepy.
yeah, that'll be cool. Yeah, let me know. I'd like to check it out too.
Yeah, I think it should be out this year, I think. Excellent. So again, back to Susanna. She's saying this got various questions.
Apologies for jumping in on my own here. Unfortunately, there was a bit of a technical issue here, and I had to get rid of the question. So the question was to John: what advice would you give to anyone who's going out into acting at the moment?
It's a pain in the ass driving around to auditions and getting sides the night before and trying to pound the lines into your head the night before, and it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And doing now one of the things that actors have to do a lot, and I've done it a lot, and I've actually booked a lot of work doing it, is doing self tapes at home, where I have my setup is in the garage, and I have to tape myself.
Yeah.
Casting directors sometimes now they don't bring in the actors as much. They want you to put it on tape on your own, which causes a whole other bag of worms to deal with, because then all of a sudden, instead of worrying about your script and worrying about your audition, you're worrying about are the lights right?
Yeah, is the sound right?
There's like a million new things now that we have to put up with, but again, it's part of how the industry is now, and it's just one of those things that's kind of a pain in the ass, but it's now become kind of a standard thing that we all have to put up with.
Yeah,
so.
And it is a tough industry to break into and to get into.
Well, I don't recommend it to anybody. Anytime anybody ever asks me, about them becoming an actor, or what advice would you give me to become, I always tell them, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's don't do it unless it's something that you cannot get out of your head.
Yeah.
It's something that is constantly gnawing at you to want to do, then do it. But you got to do it the right way. You've got to train really hard. You got to get really, really good. The talent pool is huge, and there are a lot of really, really talented people in this industry, and trying to break through is really, really difficult. And so it's hard. I always tell people, don't do it. But if you're going to do it, then you got to go all the way with it. And that means you're going to be living a life that you might not feel very comfortable living.
Yeah, no, no,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. I used to do a lot of acting when I was in school, and that's why probably I'm getting back. I mean, I'm 42, so I'm getting back into it again because it's
Good.
the
I mean,
passion's
that's
back.
great.
Because I think my parents did the same when I was 16, 17. My mum was a headmistress, my dad was a minister, so they kind of steered me out of acting because of that reason. Because
Wow.
I think
Yeah.
my dad had been a semi-pro drummer. He was offered a contract to go pro drumming with bands, rock bands in the US at the time, but he turned it down
Very
because of
cool.
the uncertainty of it. And I think that's why they steered me away, because they were like, you've got to do this, you've got to do that, And I resent it in a way, because I think if I carried it on and followed it, I could have at least had something under my belt, maybe,
Again,
and
like,
worked. But I understand and I value what they did for me, because
well,
now
you're never too old to start, but again, it's like if you're going to do it, then you got to
yeah.
really do it. You can't half-ass anything, with this kind of thing. You got to be 100% if you want to even scratch the surface of things.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
exactly. Like you say, class. I mean, I've just started a voiceover class as well this week, doing voiceover work and things. It's just for me. It's just to learn and I think, like you said, that you've got to be good. So you've got, you can't just waltz into something. Some people do. There seems to be, these the 1% of people who seem to just waltz in and get it over. That's only 1%. There's 99%, like yourself, who work your ass off, day in, day out,
Yeah.
and push that through.
And voiceover work is a tricky business too, because it's very 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 close knit, and that's a hard one to break into. I used to do a little bit when I lived in New York, but then when I came out to LA, it completely, it's very hard to break into voiceover work.
Oh yeah, I'm just learning it for techniques and styles, and for my public speaking,
Oh
for
no,
that kind of thing.
that's
Yeah,
great. And with what you're doing, it complements what you're doing.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm under no illusion. I know how difficult. That's why I still do my IT management as a main job, because I just can't. I've got that, that I know how difficult. Speaking to what you're about the
Yeah.
140th
I mean,
actor I've spoken to, and everyone's got the same story. So it's like
Yeah.
you inspire me in one way, but it puts me off in another.
Yeah. It's tricky. It's a tricky thing. It definitely is tricky. Yeah.
Cool. You've been in lots of productions as well, in guest roles. And Susanna's actually, what's it like working with different people all the time? Have you ever wished you could stay longer in a role, or the
Yeah. I mean,
opposite?
I absolutely. I wish that I would book a series regular role where I could, have a role that I could develop more. That is kind of steady, and I could go, knew where I was going every day. Yeah, series regular role would be something that I would really like to have, and I've been working really hard trying to get it.
Yep.
It's hard now with television, because all the film actors now are moving in and doing television shows. So not only are you competing against the actors that have been established television actors for a long time, but now you're also competing against movie actors who want to come in and do TV. So it makes it, challenging. And I would love to to have a job that I could go to every day.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
It would be.
Yeah, that would be very cool. Plus, it's always hard when you're doing kind of guest star work or co-stars, because you're walking into an environment where you don't know anybody, unless you might recognize them from something that you worked on previous. But it's always a weird environment to come in, and like, you don't want to be the guy that fucks up.
Yeah.
Because you're new on set, and it happens. You're gonna do something that's not what they want, and or your nerves will take over because you don't have any allies, you don't know anybody around you. So those things are always kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
That's what's hard. That's one of the hard things about being kind of like the kind of actor I am at the moment, where you coming in and doing these smaller roles, getting thrown into a production where everyone's been together for months or years, and they have a vernacular, and they've got a shorthand for how they do things.
Yeah.
Be challenging, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. Also said you picked. Susanna says she's seen it lately on a photo for a guest role. I can't speak. Sorry, just decided I've lost how to speak. So she says she's seen you lately on a photo for a guest role in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is a period series.
Oh,
so
no, I'm not. I'm not in that show.
Oh yeah, right. Okay, I'll cut that.
No, I went to a friend of mine. We were invited to a screening party, and that was just the two of us, just kind of, tooling around. They had a lot of photo op things at the screening, and so we just were horsing around and having a good time. But no, I'm not on that show. But it's a really good show. That'd be a fun show to be on. Yeah.
Excellent. No, that's fair enough.
Yeah, but I'm not on that show.
Oh, Rebecca Colgrove has asked if you could be in a black and white classic horror film, which film would it be? It's quite an interesting
black and white classic horror film.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite black and white horror film is Abbott and Costello Meet the Monsters.
Right.
So if I was to be in one, that would be it. Or is it Meet the Monsters, or is it Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein? I think it's. I got to look it up. I can't remember what the title is offhand, but I know that's the
one.
That's the one. Yeah, that one to me is classic. Yeah, but then like something like The Creature from the Black Lagoon would be fun to do too, I think. Yeah.
Yep. That's quite cool. There's some really good ones.
Yeah.
I'd quite like Nosferatu to go really fast.
Sure. Yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one, and like the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Oh yeah,
that's a creepy one too. Everyone had that in film school. And,
oh yeah. I learnt German. I did German for university, and part of that was a film year, and we watched it all in the German, and Metropolis as well, which is
great movie.
That's brilliant. It's fantastic considering how old that film is, and it's no matter which decade you play it in. You can just look at it and think that's exactly what society is like now.
That's right. Yeah. So, those are films that stand the test of time. Too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Excellent. So
those are good questions. She has a good question.
Yeah, she has actually. The other one is this one's just came in late from Rebecca as well. Was if you only had one day to live, what would you do with it?
Oh my God.
There you go. Toughest question ever, I think.
God, I don't know. I mean, I would probably. I'd probably just eat myself to death. I don't know. I'd probably just want to spend time with my wife and daughter, and eat. I'd see if I could get some good New York pizza, because you can't get any good New York pizza in Los Angeles. So maybe I'd get on a plane just to go back to the East Coast to get some good food. I don't know. Maybe just sit on the beach and drink Dark and Stormies and watch the sun go down. I don't know.
That is reminiscent of me. Sorry, like I said, I did German. That's reminiscent of one of my favourite films of all time, and it's a German film called Knocking on Heaven's Door. You know Til Schweiger? You've heard of Til Schweiger? If you think of Inglourious Bastards, he was Hugo Stiglitz in Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it again. Yeah. I'm sure I recognize him. I just don't know him.
He's not. I don't think he's as big in the States as that, but he's huge in Germany. And one of his films was Knocking on Heaven's Door. And every time I watch it, I'll be in floods of tears because basically he's a guy. He's obviously a confident, cocky, arrogant guy, and he gets a brain tumor. All of a sudden, he's diagnosed with a brain tumor, incurable, and he's only got a few days to live. And he sits there next to. It's hard going because of that, but he meets someone in hospital. And it works out that this guy's never ever seen or never been to the beach. And the whole film, they basically it's hilarity, it's comedy, and they just like steal ambulances, they rob a bank, and they do all this stuff just to finally go. And the very final scene, I've got goosebumps now talking about it. The very final scene is Til Schweiger and this guy sat on the beach watching the sunset, and the guy just slowly just goes.
I gotta watch.
But it's not the guy you would expect it. It's actually it's the character you didn't expect. And he's just like all of a sudden he just keels over and passes away watching the sunset on the beach with his friend. And it's one of the most moving scenes I've ever seen. It's all in German, but
that's okay.
It's a really really good film. I'll send you a link
Yeah, please do. That'd be great.
So just what you just said there just reminded me of that straight away because it's one of my all-time favourite films and scenes. Watched it years ago. Last question from someone who sent one in before I go on to my signature one for you, which hopefully you'll find funny, is Amanda. Okay. Amanda's actually asking, going back to your acting techniques and things, do you have any warm-up techniques you do before you go to auditions or before you do a self-tape?
That's a good question. I do transcendental meditation. Mm-hmm. So I'll try to meditate before I go to an audition or before I put myself on tape.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, there isn't a whole lot of time to do any kind of warm up, and sometimes there isn't really a place to do it. Like if I get called into a casting director's office, basically what happens is you sit in the waiting room with about 10 or 15 other actors mm-hmm. and just try to stay calm. One of the things I do is I don't like to look at anybody I'm auditioning against. I don't like them getting into my head because that kind of thing goes on. There's a lot of head games that go on in the waiting rooms and people kind of psyching each other out or mm-hmm. people trying to talk to you because they have nervous energy and they will, I normally will just put my headphones on and, maybe listen to some music to kind of just, zone out from all of them and everything around me until it's my turn to go into the room and read. I used to do, when I did a lot of theater, I used to do a lot of warm-up exercises before I would do theater, but that's different because theater, you've got to really get your body and your voice and everything really fired up in order to get through 2.5 hours of, screaming and yelling on the stage. But as far as like film acting goes and things like that, I just try to, maybe do a little meditation, just kind of focus a little bit on what I'm doing, make sure I've got my intentions right for whatever the role is. Yeah. And go in and try to perform that the best I can. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know. I guess it's hard because you do see where you just got a little audition room and you just focus and blank everybody else out.
Right, and that's hard to do because sometimes you'll be sitting in an audition room and all of a sudden you look over and there's Robert Patrick and you're like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like that's happened to me. I looked over and we're both reading for the same part, and it's like, damn it. But it's and then you're out of it, So mm-hmm. I just put the blinders on. I put my headphones on, and I just try to stay in my zone and not try not to let whatever's going on around me, affect me.
No, it's fair enough. Good.
Yeah.
Good way to be. Don't let things affect you like that way.
Robert Patrick's awesome, by the way. I've he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, I've loved to meet. He's another person I love on my show one day. He's just as an actor, I love him as well. He's fantastic in everything I've seen him in. Okay, so moving on to my final, which is my signature question. Now, the whole purpose behind this is last year I had a guy on called Mike Quinn, and he's Star Wars. He was Nine Numb in Star Wars. The guy with the red suit, the monkey one. He looks like a monkey. He's in Return of the Jedi. He flew the Millennium Falcon at the end with Lando Calrissian. Yeah. Okay, and he's in the new ones as well. He's actually the only other sort of side character who survived all the way through.
Okay, that's cool. That's a good gig.
Yeah, but he's done Muppets. He's worked with Jim Henson on the Muppets for 30 odd years as well. So he's a really good puppeteer. And someone asked this question to him when he came on, and I was like, that's such a cracking question. I'm going to ask everybody. So if you could have a Muppet created after you, what Muppet would it be and why? And you could have a new one, a mix, or it can be an existing one.
Oh God. I mean, I'm trying to think of like the Muppets that I like. I mean, I love Animal. Mm-hmm. And I've always liked Kermit.
Hello there, John.
Right, yeah. No,
that's my little Kermit.
Like if Kermit had if Kermit had cool hair.
A mix between Kermit and Animal.
Right. Yeah, something like a mix between that. I don't know. I guess Yeah, that's a hard one. But I mean, a lot of the times I feel like I'm like Oscar, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, so,
That's more
but
like me.
let's keep it optimistic. Let's say Kermit. I like Kermit, but
Fair enough.
Cookie's the best. I like Cookie Monster
Oh,
too. Cookie for me makes me happy. Every time I see Cookie Monster, I think he's the greatest.
yeah. Cookies.
He's just the best. It's just his character's just so because you know what I like. He's so focused on one thing.
Yeah.
And that's just I think that's just he's a man who knows what he wants. Yeah. All right, let's say Cookie Monster. We'll
All right,
go.
Cookie Monster. And this is where my because I did this did the Kermit. So I actually sang. Why are there so many songs about rain? That's my little my throat's
That's
gone.
great.
My
No,
own.
that's good.
Yeah. Donald Duckish one. Yeah. But the Yoda's the best one. I've got to, sorry, John. This bore
No, do
I
it,
bore
please,
everyone with
please.
these.
No, do it.
Hang on. 'Cause it sounds more like Gonzo halfway through. It's like,
No, it's,
when 900 years old, you each look as good. You will not. Which is
that's amazing.
it's not
That's
too bad.
really good.
Otherwise, do or do not. There is no try.
Right, you need to create your own characters and do it.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
that's in voiceover work, especially in animation. They need guys like you who can do that kind of thing. So if you've got your own voices, then I would seriously put together a demo tape and try to push it if that's something you want to do because that's good.
That'd be
I
quite-
can't do that.
I've done Yoda for years. It always entertains me every time I get in this car with my son. He's there going, Dad, with his friends. Dad, do the voices because Goofy as well. It's like,
Yeah.
hey there, John. Welcome to the Mickey Mouse.
That's great. Yeah, you got it down. That's a whole other career you could have. Yeah, for sure.
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So, before I stop recording, John, is there anything
Yes.
you'd like to say to people who are listening and watching?
Oh well, this has been awesome. Thank you for inviting me on the show, and again, thanks to everybody who's submitted questions and following me online. If I can, I'll plug a couple of things real quick.
Sure.
October 12th, I'm in a new show called Light as a Feather, which will be on Hulu. They're going to be streaming I think all 10 episodes of that show on October 12th. So look out for that. In the meantime, you can follow me on Twitter at John J. Tague. That's JOHNJTAGUE. And also on Instagram, the same thing at John J. Tague. And drop me a line, say hello. I try to follow everybody back, and I try to answer as many questions as I can. If people want to chat, and I try my best. Sometimes it's hard to get around to everybody. But other than that, this was awesome. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
I hope it was entertaining, and I hope somebody learned something from this. Yeah. But no, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate your time. And to all of you awesome people who sent in questions, thank you so much. Absolutely fantastic. And I hope you enjoyed listening to that as much as I did talking to John. So this has been Chris Gordon on Hellblazer Biz with John Tague, saying see you next time.